Exactly why. Expound on it.
Because why would he even want to?
Lopez, Gervonta Davis, are you ready to go through these fights?
Winner versus winner, you know, they make this, you know, and if you watch box, like how many years we're waiting, like Pacquiao versus Mayweather, how many years we're waiting, Wilder was.
Gervonta Davis delivered a harsh response after seeing Manny Pacquiao's training footage, questioning why the 46-year-old is returning to the ring. He voiced concern over the risks involved, calling the comeback dangerous and warning that today's younger, hungry fighters won't show Pacquiao.
He got it.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yes. For sure. For sure.
Gervonta Davis, one of the most explosive and feared lightweights in modern boxing, has never shied away from speaking about a potential showdown with Manny Pacquiao. While he respects Pacquiao's legendary legacy, Davis remains confident that facing the Filipino icon would pose no significant threat. His stance isn't rooted in disrespect, but in the belief that today's fighters possess greater speed, power, and explosiveness. Now in his physical prime, Davis views a bout against the 46-year-old Pacquiao not only as a chance to cement his own legacy, but as an opportunity to highlight the dominance of this new generation.
Saying how like they fighting somebody like Pacquiao is giving me hope for sure.
It doesn't matter who I fight. It doesn't matter. As long as I put on a great performance whoever I fight, it doesn't matter. I don't believe that.
In an interview after announcing his return fight against Mario Barrios, Manny Pacquiao struck a cautious yet open tone about his future. When asked about potential matchups with names like Ryan Garcia, he responded with a measured, one-at-a-time approach. However, his refusal to rule out future fights entirely has sparked speculation of a possible multi-fight comeback. Pacquiao's attitude suggests he's not treating this as a mere farewell bout, but rather a serious return, with his future plans likely hinging on how well he performs against Barrios in this crucial comeback fight.
When you beat Barrios, what's next? Are you going to fight Ryan Garcia, Haney, Lopez, Gervonta Davis? Are you ready to go through these fights?
One at a time.
But you want those guys.
We'll see.
You feel good?
We'll see. I always, I cannot say after this, like, I'm going to fight like that. But one at a time. After the fight, we can see how fight.
In his interviews, Manny Pacquiao has consistently shown that he embraces challenges, even at an age when most fighters have long stepped away from the ring.
Any possibility that you would go back in the ring and fight someone like a Tank Davis?
If you want, then if he come up to 147, then we can fight.
He can't beat you at 140?
145 maybe. It's not a problem for me, because I'm an experienced fighter, so.
Even before officially confirming his comeback, Pacquiao mentioned potential opponents like Ryan Garcia, Gervonta Davis, and Conor McGregor. These names reflected both his competitive drive and business savvy, fighters who promise exciting matchups while also delivering massive pay-per-view appeal and global attention.
So I'm not sure how true this is, but supposedly Manny Pacquiao's coming out of retirement. And these are the three names that he's interested in fighting. And now of these three names, which one do you think is the best matchup? Conor McGregor, that will just be a money grab. Everyone knows Manny Pacquiao's skill level is way above Conor's. Tank Davis? Nah, Manny Pacquiao would get knocked out by Tank Davis. I'm telling you right now, Tank would catch him, and Manny's going night-night. Now, Ryan Garcia is the fight that makes the most sense in my opinion. If you guys remember, this fight was heavily rumored at one time, and I think it might even been booked at one time, but it fell through at the last minute. And it makes the most sense to happen. Ryan Garcia is a big name currently in boxing. Style-wise, they match up perfectly. And it's a fight that could go either way. If Ryan Garcia wins, he adds a big name like Manny Pacquiao on his resume. And I know he's coming out of retirement, but still, that's Manny Pacquiao. And if Manny Pacquiao wins, he adds to his legacy and inserts himself right back in the title run. So again, these are just rumors, and I don't know if Manny Pacquiao's really out of retirement. But if he is, the fight that makes the most sense is Ryan Garcia.
Behind the scenes, industry insiders reveal that a Davis versus Pacquiao clash isn't mere fantasy. Both camps are reportedly open to negotiations if Pacquiao looks sharp against Barrios. For Davis, sharing the ring with a living legend could significantly boost his profile and cement his star power.
Your interpretation is that the boxing public is upset because they believe Pacquiao's going to beat Barrios, which is going to lead to a Tank Pacquiao fight?
Yes, look around. Look in the Discord. That's what everybody Pac and Tank that's being set up.
Oh,
Tank
so,
and Pac.
okay, so they saying Barrios is the setup for Tank and Pac. I didn't see that, but your argument makes sense. If he beats Barrios, there's nothing wrong with him fighting Tank. But But the issue is he don't deserve the Barrios fight off of 3 years off and a loss to Ugas.
And that's cry me a river, man. That's what boxing is. For longer deserve a Canelo fight.
I'm just gonna rub it in. Pause. I remember saying when Tank couldn't get a fight in, I was saying Shakur shouldn't have signed that deal with Matchroom if he wanted to fight Tank. Lomachenko, I said he ducked. But then when he couldn't find a fight, I said, hey, fight Manny Pacquiao. The reason why I said fight Manny Pacquiao at 144 was, number one, you can get the sensationalism and the crazy hype shit of a Jake Paul fight, right? He got the money grab on top of that, though, he can prepare for 140 by fighting Manny at 144, get a training camp in at your weight class. He could come down from 144 and fight Tio at 140. Everybody said that don't make sense, Biz. Can't fight Lamont Roach, take a knee, draw.
Mixed martial arts legend Khabib Nurmagomedov recently voiced strong criticism about the current state of boxing, expressing frustration with its direction. He condemned the matchmaking and promotional decisions, arguing they prioritize spectacle over substance. Using Pacquiao versus Barrios as an example, Khabib suggested the sport now focuses more on big names and profit than on fairness, competition, or fighter safety.
Winner versus winner, they make this, and if you watch box, like how many years we're waiting, like Pacquiao versus Mayweather, how many years we're waiting, Wilder versus Tyson Fury, they have like 100-0, 100-0, like people beg, hey, please make this fight, and it's like...
Oscar de la Hoya expressed serious concern over Pacquiao's decision to fight at 46, stressing that preparing for a high-level bout at that age is incredibly demanding. He noted that recovery becomes much slower with age and believes Pacquiao's body needs rest, not the strain of another intense training camp.
6 years old. You have to remember that. So give your body some rest. Rest right now is Manny Pacquiao's friend in between training, in between sparring sessions. No, there's no shame in taking a day off or two, Manny. Trust me. Let your body relax, let your body rest. He'll do fine. He's experienced, he's got obviously the power, because it never leaves you. The speed I'm a little worried about, but I think that Barrios is a live dog. He's a world champion, and he's no slouch. So I think it's going to be a good fight. I wish Manny all the best. I'm not sure who's going to win. I really haven't seen Barrios, but I think Barrios, the youth is obviously with him in his corner.
Rising star Jesse "Bam" Rodriguez gave a blunt assessment of the upcoming Pacquiao-Barrios fight. While honoring Pacquiao's legendary career, Rodriguez predicted a one-sided bout in Barrios' favor, arguing that youth, activity, and hunger typically outweigh experience, even when facing a fighter of Pacquiao's stature.
Mario is going to go out there and just put a beating on Manny. I think Manny's a little too old, but he's a legend. He already did what he did, so I really don't see a reason for him to come back. But if he wants to get in the ring with Mario, then I guess Mario has to show him that he has a youth, and Manny Pacquiao shouldn't just stay retired.
Yeah. That's what a lot of fans are saying, and are still kind of disbelief. But even looking at social media and the fans, they're thrilled just to see him back. So just to have him in the ring, and these fighters at that age are not competing.
I think that just says a lot about the type of fighter Manny Pacquiao is, the stardom he has. He's 46, 47?
He's 46.
And people are still excited to see him fight. So that just says a lot about him and what he's done in his career. So like I said earlier, to see a friend I grew up with fight Manny Pacquiao is going to be pretty cool. And it's the same night. So it's a huge night for San Antonio boxing.
Barrios' advantages in age, height, and reach could prove decisive in this matchup. At 28, he's more active, sharper, and physically fresher. His longer reach may help him dictate the pace, keep Pacquiao at distance, and capitalize on any defensive lapses.
Breaking news, Manny Pacquiao versus Mario Barrios is official for July 19th in Las Vegas for Barrios' WBC welterweight title. After 4 years off from pro boxing, Pacquiao will try to become the oldest active world champion in boxing at 46 years old and one of the oldest champions in boxing history. Now, this fight has been rumored for quite a while. They tried to make it last year after Pacquiao had an exhibition with Pacquiao, but they were never able to finalize a deal. But earlier this year, they re-entered negotiations and they finally made it official now. Now, in terms of the fight itself, Barrios, he's going to have a huge age and size advantage. The guy is 29 years old, right in his physical prime. He's probably going to weigh around 160, 165 pounds on the night of the fight. Whereas Pacquiao, like I said, he's 46 years old. He won't weigh over 145 pounds on the night of the fight. And Barrios, he's just going to try to stay behind the jab and the straight shots and use that youth to win in the fight. Now, what I will give Pacquiao is he does have a huge IQ advantage, and Barrios' defense didn't look that great in his last fight, but still, the age is the main factor. But you guys let me know. Are you excited for Manny's return, or is it too risky at his age?
Trainer Robert Garcia praised Manny Pacquiao's legendary career, but emphasized the inescapable impact of age. Despite Pacquiao's efforts to stay fit during retirement, Garcia warned that aging inevitably slows reflexes, reduces endurance, and hampers recovery, all critical in boxing. His concerns echo those of many in the sport who respect Pacquiao's achievements but fear his comeback could carry risks that outweigh the potential rewards.
Well, Pacquiao's a big name, and obviously Barrios is a great fight for Barrios because he's a champion, and I think Pacquiao, being that they both have connections with PBC, that's the easiest fight to make. So, they're getting another title opportunity. I just the name obviously, but I really believe that Pacquiao shouldn't be fighting. I think it's actually going to be a little. I don't want to say sad because he's going to make a lot of money, so we can't feel sorry for him. But at 46, almost 47, it's almost impossible for. I'm just 4 years older, 4 years older than him, and it's not easy to try to you're going to get in shape and be able to perform like the way you were when you were in your 20s and 30s.
You think it's impossible for him to beat Mario Barrios right now?
Well, it's not impossible because he has power. That he should have that power. Barrios is big and a strong boy, so I don't see that happening. But is it possible? Anything's possible. George Foreman did it. There's been others that do it. But I really don't see it happening.
But Pacquiao's speed's the name of his game. Do you think he doesn't have that? There's no way he doesn't have the same speed as before.
There's no way, bro. You guys, I don't know if you guys seen his
the exhibition against that big guy.
It was actually embarrassing to see that shit. So it wasn't that good. It wasn't that good. You know what I mean?
If Pacquiao wins, what does that do for him? Where does that put him all time?
Hell, come on, at that age, after like a few years, I don't know how many years he's been out, that'd be impressive. It's hard to think it's gonna happen, but the shit would be nice, right? It would be nice. Very few have done it, and he's actually the one that could do it.
Pacquiao, he's probably top 5 all time, one of the greatest fighters.
Multiple experts have raised concerns about Pacquiao's well-being, noting that a 5-year break from competition is especially risky at age 46. Boxing's unforgiving nature rarely shows mercy, even to legends. Many fear serious injury, citing past cases where older fighters suffered lasting damage. This troubling history has only heightened the scrutiny surrounding Pacquiao's return to the ring.
Because what's the worst case scenario? Someone gets seriously hurt. Someone has life-altering injuries, and that can happen in boxing. We've seen this. Manny Pacquiao isn't immune to this. He's been knocked out. He's been hit. He's not Floyd, who has been hardly hit. He's been knocked out cold. I thought when he got knocked out by Marquez, I thought he died. It was that scary. Yeah. Remember that one? So
I do.
Ultimately, I'm most surprised that if it hasn't been officially announced, if it lands in Nevada or California, I'll be very surprised and dare I say disappointed.
While Pacquiao's accomplishments remain unquestioned, his return has sparked debate within the boxing world. Many fans feel he has nothing left to prove and fear that a disappointing performance could blemish his near-flawless legacy. They argue that chasing titles at this stage risks not only his health, but also the enduring image of an untouchable champion.
Since being a world champion means you are the best in the world. You are the champion of this world at your weight class. We all know right now, at least to me, it's common knowledge that that's Jerron Boots Ennis. At 147, he is the best in the world. But he doesn't hold all 4 belts, so he is only one of the 2 or 3, I guess now, world champions. Doesn't make sense to me, and especially when now you're the WBC and you're like, yeah, let's bring in Manny Pacquiao to potentially win a world championship. And let's say he pulls it off by some miracle. Are we going to put Manny Pacquiao in there with Boots Ennis? Is that what we're going to do? I hope not. And again, this is not me trying to be a hater. It's just, I don't want to see Manny get hurt. And Barrios, not the biggest puncher in the world, but he can hurt it badly. He is a volume puncher, and he will be in there against a guy that, again, isn't a natural 147. Even if he finished his career at 147, that's not where Manny was his best self. He's definitely going to be at a massive size disadvantage here. Height, reach, everything. Again, when Manny was in his prime, or, honestly, when he was still in his late 30s and early 40s before he retired, he could have handled that. The speed was still there. The consistency was still there. He wasn't running for political office and doing all this other stuff and taking time off. We see this time and time again. When a boxer retires, takes a long time off, and then comes back, it usually, again, outside of George Foreman, rest in peace to the GOAT, it usually doesn't go well. And I don't think this is going to either. And it's clear to me that this is done for, a staging of an event versus the actual competitive nature of the fight. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong and that Manny still has it, but I'm just going to go with what makes the most sense. The WBC and whoever they partner with on this is going to try to sell tickets off of it. Okay, that's fine. But what's the point of the belt if this is the match? What are you saying?
Criticism isn't directed solely at Pacquiao. Some analysts have questioned Barrios' choice to face an opponent well past his physical prime. They argue the matchup lacks genuine competitive merit, framing it instead as a calculated move to boost Barrios' profile with minimal risk. From this perspective, the fight appears ethically questionable rather than a true test of elite.
Mario Barrios and Manny Pacquiao are in talks for the WBC welterweight title fight. They want to do it in Vegas. Pacquiao's 45 and hasn't competed since August 2021 in a decision loss. Mario Barrios is definitely trying to stat pad at this point. In a stacked welterweight division, you can fight Crawford. If you don't want to fight someone who's coming off a W, fight Spence Jr. Fight Jaron or Stanius, Fight one of the top 4 fighters. You're ranked top 5 and you want to fight Manny Pacquiao. That's stat padding. That shouldn't even count as a win. And I love Manny Pacquiao, but in his prime, he would definitely beat Mario Barrios, but it's past his prime. Hasn't fought in 3 years. Is 45 years old. It's time to hang it up, bud. I will say, though, if he somehow miracle pulls it off, it'll be the greatest win, I think, in my opinion.
As the bout nears, debate is heating up, with concerns extending beyond a simple loss. Analysts warn of the risk of long-term injury or a brutal knockout. Some argue the fight should never have been sanctioned, urging boxing authorities to reconsider their criteria for approving bouts involving aging fighters.
He's gonna get knocked out by Mario Barrios. And I get it, Mario Barrios is far from a good fighter. Mario Barrios is one of the worst champions in all of boxing, but Manny Pacquiao is so old, bro. I think a lot of you guys forget Manny Pacquiao fought last year and he arguably lost to a Muay Thai kickboxer dude. This dude wasn't even a boxer. Yes, he was really big, but the dude was just not a boxer. Honestly, I think the WBC should call this fight off. I think it's not too late to kind of go back on your word and let's call this one off. This fight should not be sanctioned by anybody. This fight should not be allowed. At least Mario Barrios should be stripped of his WBC title for defending it against a 46-year-old. Is there a slim chance Manny Pacquiao is able to outmaneuver him and maybe outpoint him, punch around him? Yeah, maybe. But realistically, it won't happen. But if he does, I think it will solidify him as the greatest boxer of all time, no questions about it. I think if he does win this fight, it would put him clearly over Ali, Ray Robinson, Ray Leonard, and Floyd Mayweather. But I want to hear your guys' thoughts on how y'all feel about it.
Unlike exhibition bouts clearly labeled as entertainment, Manny Pacquiao's return is being treated as a legitimate title pursuit, drawing sharp criticism from boxing purists. While names like Mike Tyson and Jake Paul stirred headlines, they didn't compete for world titles. Pacquiao's decision to challenge Mario Barrios for the WBC welterweight title, however, blurs the line between sport and spectacle in a way many find troubling. Critics argue that it undermines competitive integrity, especially given Pacquiao's age and long absence from the ring. Still, the fight has become one of boxing's most talked about events. Officially sanctioned and backed by the WBC, the matchup promises high drama, nostalgia, and significant stakes. For Pacquiao, it's a chance to end his legendary career on a triumphant note. For fans, it marks the closing chapter of one of boxing's most iconic stories. Set for Saturday, August 3, 2025, the entire fight card is stacked with thrilling bouts, from explosive co-main events to rising stars looking to make their mark. While Pacquiao vs. Barrios is the main attraction, every fight on the card offers the potential for fireworks, making it one of the year's must-watch boxing events.
The Manny Pacquiao vs. Mario Barrios card is announced, and it's pretty stacked. So opening up the card, it's Pitbull Cruz vs. Angel Fierro 2. And this is a rematch of one of the best fights of the year so far. They originally fought in the Benavidez Morel undercard, and Cruz started off strong with his jab and walking Fierro down. But Fierro dug deep, Cruz had some great exchanges, so they decided to run it back. Then featured bout, Brandon Figueroa vs. Joey Gonzalez. Figueroa, the former WBC champion at featherweight, but just lost his belt to Stephen Fulton. But these are now two top contenders at 126 pounds. Then co-main event, it's another fun rematch. Sebastian Fedora versus Tim Tszyu 2. The last time it was a bloody war. Tszyu walking forward, got elbowed and got cut open, but still had some great exchanges. Fedora landed some nasty uppercuts, and they're running it back for Fedora's title this time. And then the main event, Manny Pacquiao makes his return to challenge Mario Barrios for his WBC welterweight title. Pacquiao trying to break his own record as the oldest welterweight champion. Barrios gets the biggest fight of his career so far. 4 really good fights on these cards, and they should all be action-packed.
That wraps up today's video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.